Hello, bookaholics! Welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if this is your first time here. My name is Angela. I'm your own bookaholic brown nim. In this channel, I talk about books that I have read, books that I'm planning to read, books that I'm currently reading, and also my humble opinion on books that I have read. So if you are a complete bookaholic like me, please do not hesitate from subscribing to my channel, and also please like, share and comment. I would really appreciate that. 2021 has been a very special and different year for me in terms of my reading journey is concerned. I was able to read a lot more books than I usually do as opposed to other years, and that's because I've been much more engaged in the book community, let it be book Twitter or bookstagram or booktube, etc., and Goodreads as well. And apart from that, I was able to discover books and read them that I wouldn't have if I was not part of this community. I've got so many good recommendations from fellow booktubers and fellow book lovers. I was able to discover those wonderful books, otherwise I wouldn't have. Another thing that I was able to tip my toes into is the experience of audiobooks. Now, I'm a very conservative person when it comes to my book reading habits, very old fashioned, and I like my books in the physical form. I love the feel of book in my hand, and just sitting on my armchair or on my bed and reading it, and then the smell of books, etc. So very traditional, very conservative when it comes to that. However, I happen to watch a lot of booktube videos where amazing booktubers have been raving about the audiobooks that they had listened to, and I got motivated by that, and I thought that maybe I should try it and give it a try. I did, and I really enjoyed the experience of audiobooks, and I am listening to a lot of audiobooks these days. In this video, I would like to recommend to you top 6 favorite audiobooks of mine which I have read and discovered this year. So without further ado, let's get into it. The first audiobook that I want to recommend to you is a classic. I am a sucker for detective novels. I love reading a very good detective mystery, investigation story. One of my favorite authors is Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, and of course Sherlock Holmes is one of my favorite characters of all time. This audiobook is also a detective novel. It's called A Body in the Library by Agatha Christie. Now, this is not one of Agatha Christie's, best novels. It is a better than average Christie novel, you can call it that. However, for me, I wanted to pick this book as one of the audiobooks that I recommend to you because I really enjoyed the way the narrator narrates this story. The narrator's name is Stephanie Cole, and the publisher is HarperCollins UK Audio. It was released in September 12th, 2006, and I read this on Script. It's available on Script, guys, so check it out. It's just 5 hours and 40 minutes. So that means it's quite shorter than a normal audio book. So this is a typical classic Miss Marple story. If you don't know, Miss Marple is Agatha Christie's famous lady detective. So the plot is like this. There is this old mansion in a small English town, and this mansion belongs to the Bantry family, and the lady of the house, Lady Bantry, she gets up in the morning, and she walks in, and she is woken up actually by one of the maid servants in the house, and she is told that there is a horrific discovery made in the library of the mansion, and she rushes there and she finds that there is a body of a murdered woman, a girl in the library, and nobody knows who she is. So she is exquisitely dressed with beautiful makeup. Mrs. Bantry rushes to the bedroom and wake Mr. Bantry up, and they are all puzzled and bewildered as of the appearance of this murdered body in their library. and Miss Marple happens to be in the neighborhood, and the rest of the story is her trying to solve this mystery. So it's a very classic, cozy detective novel, and I really enjoyed listening to this, particularly because of the way the narrator has narrated this story. So if you want a nice, fun read which doesn't need too much of your cerebral investment, then go for it, try it out. If you want a book that you want to try for the first time as an audiobook, this could be a good start. That was The Body in the Library by Agatha Christie. The next book that I want to recommend is also from a genre I really, really enjoy reading, which is mystery thriller. So, first I talked about detective novels, and then now we are coming to mystery thriller, and this book is Still House Lake by Rachel Kane, and it is narrated by Emily Sutton Smith. I had talked about this book in one of my previous video where I recommended, I think, mystery thrillers that you should read, and this is definitely an amazing book. I loved the story. The reason why I am recommending this book to you or audiobook to you is because, first of all, the narrator is good, and secondly, because the story is so fresh and so frightening, so horrifying. Every word takes you to the verge of so much of tension and apprehension. You are so really psychologically traumatized as the story progresses, but in a good way. That means, you're enjoying the mystery thriller aspect of the book. It's about this woman, and this is not a spoiler, yeah, because it happens in the first 10 pages of the book. So, this woman, she is a typical Midwestern wife living a very quiet life with her husband and two kids, and she is returning home with her two children after shopping, and the moment she arrives in her area, she finds a huge crowd around her home, and then she realizes that somebody has crashed into her garage, and she tries to, you know squeeze into the crowd and get into her house, and she is stopped, and she is immediately apprehended and arrested. And then she realizes that uh, through the act of crashing into her garage, um, it's been discovered that her husband was leading a secret life, that he was a serial killer who captured women and tortured them in the garage and killed them and murdered them. And of course, everybody thinks that she was also a part of it, because living in the same house separated by a wall, it was impossible for outsiders to believe that she wasn't part of this whole murderous uh, ventures he was carrying out in his garage. But later on, she is acquitted and she runs away from this place with her kids, and she is constantly on the move, trying to build a new life. But wherever she goes, she and her family uh, are immediately recognized, and they cannot have a stable life. They are being bullied in real world and also in the cyber world. And at last they reach this place called Still House Lake community, and she finds a house and settle there, and nobody knows about them, and they think that they have found their permanent home, and then the unexpected happens. And guys, what happens next is quite frightening, horrifying. It gets worse and worse, and the rest of the story is how she tries to protect herself and her kids mainly from whatever threat they are facing in this new place that they thought was going to be their permanent home. Also, the story ends in a great cliffhanger that you will not stop yourself from picking up the next book in the series, which is Kilman Creek. And guys, the second book is even better. So yeah, check it out. Next, I want to recommend a science fiction audiobook, which is kind of rare for me. I generally do not read science fiction that much. Usually, I concentrate on my go-to genre like fantasy or historical fiction and non-fiction. This book that I'm talking about now came as a recommendation to me on my script homepage, and I thought that okay, I haven't tried any science fiction on audiobooks. Let me try it. Why not? And this is book one of the Murderbot series by Martha Wells, which is All Systems Red. So the story happens in a corporate dominated spacefaring distant future. There are a lot of missions that humans are sending out to different planets, and when there is a scientific mission, most of the times there is a security droid that is sent along with the mission teams. And because this is a corporate dominated capitalistic society, security sometimes is not the highest priority, profit is. So what happens is, when one such exploratory scientific team goes to a distant planet for its mission, it is accompanied by a security droid. But what they don't know is that this droid, during one of its previous mission, had hacked into its own system and did some manipulation, and it is now kind of self-aware and is able to make its own decisions. There is a very precarious balance that might be unbalanced at any moment between its contemplative, what do you call it, self-discovery, and its just idle wish or instinct to kill all humans. The best part is this story is narrated from the perspective of this murderous, uh, robot or droid. Not quite murderous, but definitely he doesn't care. He's starting to feel unempathetic and detached. He just want to sit down and consume lots and lots of media content like TV series and things like that, and he just want to sit down and figure out what he is all about. But at the same time, something unexpected happens in this planet that they have gone to for their mission, and the rest of the story is how this group of scientists and their very mysterious murderous murderbot will overcome this situation. So that is Martha Wells' All Systems Red. The reason why I'm recommending this to you is because, first of all, it is a novella. It won the 2018 Hugo Award for Best Novella, and it's just, I think, it's just 3 hours. I think, yeah, it's just 3 hours and 70 minutes. It's just a quick listen. And the second reason is because the first person narrative, or with the perspective that we get from this droid who is suddenly become murderous and unempathetic, but at the same time is very contemplative and self-aware, and being able to listen to his inner voices, and having the plot being unraveled from his perspective was very interesting for me. I will definitely read the rest of the book in the series, and most probably I will just listen to it, because I really loved the way the narrator, Kevin R. Free, narrated this. Excellent narrator. This was the third book that I wanted to recommend to you. Like I said previously, the books that I'm listing out right now are in a kind of a descending order of my preference. So 6543. So this is the third book in the countdown that I want to recommend, which is Sadie by Courtney Summers. Now, this is the first ever audiobook that I've listened to, and this is the book that pulled me into the world of audiobooks, and I have never looked back. So that itself says something. This is kind of a young adult novel, and it is narrated by a full cast. There is uh, a group of cast which is narrating this, and I really love this. This is also kind of a mystery thriller book. There is definitely trigger warning for um, physical and sexual abuse, so be warned of that. The story is about Sadie. She is the small town girl who hasn't had an easy life. She is living with her grandmother, I think adoptive grandmother or grandmother, I don't remember, but definitely a grandmotherly kind of figure in a trailer park house. And she is essentially the mother figure for her little sister Mattie. She gives her all to uh, raise this kid sister of hers. She is devastated when one day Mattie is found dead. and she is convinced that it is definitely a murder, but the police investigation is botched, and there is no conclusion reached, and the killer is never caught. This incident completely devastates Sadie, and her whole world comes crashing down. She realizes that she has to take matters into her own hand and bring her sister's killer to justice. So she sets out to find her sister's killer. She's reported missing. In parallel, there is this radio personality or radio jockey. His name is West McRae. She overhears this story about the missing girl called Sadie. He latches on to Sadie's story and tries to pick up clues on where she was last seen and trying to follow her through her tracks and hopefully try to reach her before something really bad happens to her, because obviously she is in a quest to find her sister's killer, and he wants to reach there before she is in any kind of real danger. So there are two parallel narrations going on, one from Sadie's perspective and one from Wes McRae's perspective, and it was really beautiful, edge of the seat thriller. Beautiful narrators, like I said, there are like a good bunch of narrators out here. All of them did really great job in narrating the entire story, and everything was tied in so well together. I think I was lucky to start with such a great book on my audiobook journey. So if you like a great mystery thriller, mm, just check it out. It's an easy listen. So the next audiobook that I want to recommend to you is Dune by Frank Herbert. If you follow my channel, you know that I did read Dune and I was not quite a fan of the book. However, I really enjoy the audiobook. Now, I did immersion reading for Dune, and I think that without the audiobook to accompany my reading, I would have, liked it lesser, the book. Oh my god, there is this entire cast of voice actors who did such an amazing job in narrating the story. I am not kidding, guys. And this is available on Audible. So one, two, three, four, all the previous four books that I mentioned are on script. Dune is available on Audible, and it is published by Macmillan Audio. They have done an excellent job in bringing this whole audible drama, I would call it, together. Everybody and their mother has read this book or watched the movie, so I'm not going to tell you the plot summary as such. So if you have read the book, try the audiobook as well. If you're planning for a reread, try immersion reading maybe. And if you have watched the movie and I'm planning to read the book, try the audiobook. I would highly recommend it. It's brilliantly produced audio book. I totally recommend this. Even though I did not like the book as such, I loved the quality of the production of this audiobook. And so if you are a lover of this book, if you're a Dune fan, then you should definitely listen to this audiobook. Because if I ever plan to reread it, I wouldn't read the physical book. I will definitely listen to the audiobook. It's that good quality the voice acting done by everybody involved. It is 21 hours and 2 minutes long book, so it's kind of long, but trust me, it's worth it, especially for Dune fans. Now, the number one book, the book that made it to the top, the book that is going to stay there for a long, long time until something as brilliant as it comes along, is The Sandman by Neil Gaiman. And yes, that's how his last name is pronounced. It is not Gaiman, it is Gaiman. I researched. So I'm confident that's how his name is pronounced, Neil Gaiman. Now, guys, this is such an amazing book. If you listen to it, you wouldn't be surprised why this book is my number one audio book recommendation to you. Oh, first of all, okay, it has an amazing story. Of course, it is by the Neil Gaiman. It is definitely quirky. There is definitely fantasy. There is definitely horror elements, all that mixed together. Yeah, it's very Gaimanish. It has a wonderful star cast. Let me read out the cast to you. Riz Ahmed, I'm sure you know him. Then Kat Dennings. Then you have Neil Gaiman himself. Then you have James McAvoy. Then Samantha Morton, I don't know her. Bebe Neuwirth. no, don't know her. Andy Serkis, and then you have Michael Sheen. So it's definitely a star cast out there, and you can feel that when you're listening to it. What a beautiful narration, and this is how audiobooks need to be made. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. So let me quickly give you a 3 or 4 line plot summary. Torn from his realm, the Sandman, or Morpheus, the immortal king of dreams, stories, and the imagination, was imprisoned on Earth for decades. On escaping, he must restore his power, descend into hell to face Lucifer, chase rogue nightmares, visit a serial killer convention, and cross paths with characters from DC comic books, ancient myths, and real world history. This audiobook has an excellent musical score, which is done by James Hannigan. Guys, combine together this amazing plot and this amazing array of star cast narrators together with this great score by James Hannigan, put together a great Audible original. Guys, this is available on Audible. You will get 1 free credit every month, so if you still have that free credit, go ahead and buy this or pay some money and get this book. It's worth your money, 120%. I hope you're inspired to at least pick one of these audiobooks and listen to them while you're driving or while you're doing your daily chores and find out if I was right or not. I hope my passionate ramblings on the about these audiobooks do not go in vain and you do try one of them out. And also please let me know in the comment section if you have already listened to any of them, if you agree with me or not, and if you have some other great audiobooks similar to these, please recommend to me. I am looking for wonderful audiobooks all the time to explore and discover and listen to. So that was today's video, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do like, share, and comment, and I'll be back with another amazing bookish content before you know it. This is Angela signing off. Bye bye.